Vic Law throws down a dunk for 2 of his 16 points against Illinois. AP Images Rosemont, Ill. There was an intensity on the floor on Friday night that was absent for the first 7 games of the season for Northwestern. There was no doubt about it, this was the first Big Ten game of the season. And for the beleaguered Wildcats, it was a shot to snap out of their early-season doldrums. New head coach Chris Collins said it best, this game was a must-win, in a wild, in-your-face and often ragged brawl that was befitting an interstate rivalry. Northwestern outlasted Illinois in overtime, 7,268. The teams were knotted at 63 at the end of regulation before the Wildcats outscored the Illini 95 in the extra session, even though 3 of them had fouled out. It was Northwestern's first win over a Power 6 conference school this season after losing their previous 3. It also marked the Wildcats' first victory over Illinois in more than a year as they lost both of their meetings last season. Northwestern's Scotty Lindsey scored 22 points to lead all scorers while Vic Law scored 16 and Bryant McIntosh added 14. Illinois was led by Laren Black's 15 points and 14 each from John Lucas and Mark Allstork. Here are our 3-pointers on a victory that lifts the Wildcats' record to 53-10. Big Tina four-guard lineup won the game for New in OT with Law, Gavin Skelly and Aaron Falson. On the bench with 5 fouls, Northwestern was forced to go with the 4-guard lineup in overtime, and it worked, as Isaiah Brown came up with big plays to seal the win. Lindsey scored 5 points in overtime to lead New, while Brown hit his only shot and 2 free throws in extra time. The seldom-used reserve, who is just getting back in shape after a training camp injury, confidently rose up and hit a jumper from the lane with 130 left to give the Wildcats a 7,068 lead. Pardon came up with a huge block of Mike Allstork with 45 seconds left, and backup freshman Anthony Gaines salvaged the loose ball. After 2 Lindsey free throws, Brown corralled another key loose ball and was fouled. He calmly drained both of his shots from the line with just 2 seconds left to put the game on ice. Neither team took care of the ball. Northwestern committed 17 turnovers to match its season high, and the Wildcats still had 2 fewer than Illinois. The Illini like to push the pace and play an aggressive style that pressures ball handlers, so the game was often out of control. McIntosh, normally a sure-handed leader, was the worst defender for the Wildcats with a game-high 6 turnovers. He seemed to unravel in crunch time, too. He had 3 turnovers in the last 237 of regulation with the game in the balance, and he added 1 more in overtime. Black led Illinois with 5 turnovers as the Illini coughed it up twice themselves in last 2+ minutes of regulation and once in the extra period. Fouls were an issue for Northwestern. Fouling has been an issue early in the season for the Wildcats, and it almost came back to bite them against Illinois. The Wildcats were whistled for 28 fouls as Illinois was in the double bonus in both halves. Skelly fouled out with 319 left in the second half, while both Law and Falson picked up their 5th fouls in overtime. That's why Brown and Gaines were on the floor in OT. Collins thinks that his players are putting their hands on opponents too much. He pointed out that Law picked up an offensive and a technical foul, which didn't help his cause. There were 51 total fouls in the game, including Law and Black picking up offsetting technicals after a shoving match in the second half, and bodies were flying as players drove to the hoop, resulting in 46 combined free throws and constant stops in the action.